Welcome to another podcast. I have JC here today and we're back in my car. I don't know why I said the car, I just feel like it's more casual. So today I want to be talking about like the cycle of narcissism, I guess. Like how in any different relationship you've been in, not just romantic, maybe you dealt with someone narcissistic or you were a little bit narcissistic yourself, and how it's a bit of a cycle, and really just to become aware of it. Like if you're a victim of it, if you're like perpetuating it, I can't say it, onto other people. And it's not, I don't want anyone to feel like ashamed, guilty, or even like sad or angry. It's just more like to be aware of it every cycle, every stage of the cycle, I think for me, when I was younger, I was quite naive and I mixed it with like love and relationships and friendship, and that's not what a lot of it was in the end. So just awareness, I guess.
And I think sometimes you can take on board what narcissists make you believe, and it makes you become a person that you're not, or I don't know. So I think you have to be very aware, because you need to know when to walk away, because then it can affect your mental and your soul. But we are being careful about the word narcissist, because we're obviously not doctors. We use it as an umbrella term, which probably isn't the best thing to do, but we don't really know how to put it in any other words. But don't take it too
take it with a pinch of
salt. Like, it's just kind of the word we're using as the umbrella term for,
And I'm going to be talking, I don't know about you, but I'm going to be talking about like multiple different people and incidents that I've come across, or myself, that under this umbrella term I feel like I've experienced it. So it's not just like about one specific thing. And my objective for this podcast is to not like vent and rant and be angry or anything. It's to like literally bring awareness to everyone of what was not right and what you didn't deserve and what you shouldn't be doing to others. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is from very early like experiences with someone that had kind of narcissistic traits, or not selfish as in a bad way, but when you're surrounded by people that themselves didn't have a normal upbringing and weren't treated right or put first, sometimes when they become adults or older, they then expect that from others, but it can like be portrayed in a bit of like a selfish way. And when I was younger, I used to view these people as selfish, and I used to find it very hard as a child to put other people first. And I had to put them first because of the triggers and the reactions you'd get if you didn't. And I feel like over time, like being young and dealing with people like that, all it really did for me was train me to always put other people first, not myself. And I think that's really stuck in my head, and that's why I do struggle to maybe put myself first. And basically the way I can explain it is like, being around those people young, I felt like I was walking around eggshells.
Literally.
And like it was like a landmine, like what could I say wrong, or what's gonna go wrong? It's just gonna blow up. Because for my experience with these people is their reactions weren't like your average like anger. It was like from 0 to 100 in a matter of seconds, which is like so hard. And I used to always feel guilty, like I started that, but I should have done more. And I think that has a psychological impact, especially at a young age.
Sometimes you feel like what you do is never enough. So like you're constantly trying, like you're really trying to impress that person, and you just never feel like fulfilled, because you're constantly trying to change this person or make them see you the way you think you should be seen, but they will never see it, unfortunately.
You seek their validation.
That's probably the word I was looking for.
And like if you don't want to make a mistake, because they can use that against you. And then you just feel like you have to be perfect all the time, which is very unrealistic. And then you start doing that in your other relationships that maybe don't have these traits, or like are very much like very like nonchalant people that don't really care that much, like will just accept you for you, and you're trying too hard with those people, and they find that probably a bit off-putting, is how I felt. Like growing up trying to make friends, like I was always trying to like impress the way that maybe I thought I did because of these other people I'd dealt with in early years. And these normal people were like, you're trying too hard, you're cringy, you're this, you're that. And I feel like the biggest thing for like maybe dealing with people a little bit narcissistic young is you then learn to create a fake persona. And this is something I really like struggled with, like growing up, like with friends, school, everything. Like I just needed to be liked and impress everyone, because I didn't want to deal with another person like that, where I'm gonna feel like I'm on eggshells or upset them, or they're not gonna like me. So I was like, I have to be liked because I'm not normally liked with these other people.
Yeah, and if you start internalizing that you're not good enough, you have to find ways to fill that void and prove that you are good enough. So whether that's based on how many people like you, or how many people think you look good, or how many, you're always trying to fill that void of not being good enough. And realistically, no amount of friends are going to make you feel good enough. They might for a second, but deep down you're always going to be searching for something more.
The people I was trying to attract and fill that void externally, I was basically trying to attract them with a fake personality, someone that was not me, music I didn't like, you know, humour that wasn't me, and like, or you dress a certain way, do certain hobbies and stuff to literally just try and resonate and relate to these people.
Well, again, it's because you think that you're not good enough.
Yeah.
So you have to produce someone else that you think is good enough. I think that's a lot of how narcissism starts and ego starts, because I think ego is kind of the art of creating a persona that's not actually you, but that everyone likes. And I think that's kind of where it starts. It's like a protection thing. It's like, well, if they don't like me, then like whatever, I don't care, like I'm too good for them. But you don't actually feel like that. One thing about ego, it's easy to feed but it's easy to starve. And it, like, same way, if you can give something, you can take it. If it's not from you, if you've got all these external people feeding you, they can easily stop, and then what do you have? Nothing. Your whole confidence is based on the opinion of others, which can change in a heartbeat. And I think that's why I think those kind of people take it the most personal. Their protection is, oh, I don't care, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care if no one likes me, but like, you do.
And what you said is so true of like, you know, if you're giving people all this power of like validating you, they can easily take it away. And I think that's something I really struggled with in dating as well. Like, if I segue a little bit into relationships, like that's probably where I've had the most experiences. Like, I was in a place where I'd been exposed to like narcissistic traits at a young age, which meant, you know, naturally I'm putting other people first. So that meant that when I was dating and I started liking people, the same programming I applied to dating. So I was like, right, I have to put these other people first, no matter what. As long as they like me and I'm wanted, it doesn't matter. And that is such a toxic way of thinking, because that means you'll literally bend over backwards and put up with anything just to be wanted. When you have such a bad anxious attachment, which normally is brewed from like, I don't know, being like rejected, abandoned as a child, or like you've had like friendship groups that weren't very like welcoming or anything, you, again, this whole thing of chasing validation, chasing to be wanted, accepted, that can brew then an anxious attachment style, which is very hard to deal with in relationships, because it makes you quite like clingy for that love and attention, and like you will literally do anything for it. But what happened to me is that bred something called limerence, which means you're then chasing that feeling rather than the actual person. So like, it was more the idea of like, someone likes me, someone loves me, than like who loved me and who liked me. And then you get obsessed with that, and you give them all the power to validate you and make you feel seen and wanted. And at first, like, I definitely did, and that's what kept me around for a while, because I was like, I felt so loved, so wanted, like cared for, amazing, to the point where I was maybe wearing like rose tinted glasses, because I never had it before, like from even the most important people. Like, I'd not had that type of like nurture and love to that level anyway. So to then get it at once, I was just obsessed and loved it. But then I got so defensive and protective over it. I was like, I cannot not have this. So anytime there was a bit of chaos or like something that could sabotage that or make it disappear for me, I lost the plot pretty much. And like, I hated that so much.
Oh my gosh, I'm having like self-realization right now. Like,
I've done a lot of therapy, so like, but this is only for me, so this might not be for everyone. Let me disclaim that I've done a lot of therapy to learn that most of my relationships with a lot of people have been limerence, not actual like love, because it's like you're chasing the idea of it rather than the person. But I was in a very like, long relationship, and people always ask me too, why did you stay that long? And I sometimes can't answer, but the more therapy I've done, the more I've realized that like the limerence is actually like a hormonal issue. Like the highs you get compared to the low lows creates this addiction to someone. I've spoken about this plenty of times, but it's like an actual hormonal thing where you physically are like a bit trapped. And if you're with someone that maybe has a bit of like bad traits, or they're not very self-aware, or maybe even narcissistic traits, that will just go on forever.
That's like, even worse, because I think
you're triggering each other and you're feeding each other. I'm going to go through some traits and things in relationships specifically, but you may see this in friendships, family, whatever, that I've spoke about in therapy, I've learned about. Sometimes they can stem from narcissistic people, sometimes it's just someone that's just a bit not treating you how you should be treated, and I do think avoid these at all costs. Narcissistic traits, yeah. Okay, so some of the main things I noticed, not just with like my relationships, but friends I've dealt with as well, is they will mock you for your personality and your interests. So the thing is, this didn't like really work for me anyway, because the personality I had with these people was fake anyway. So you were making fun of a personality that was never authentically me. But where I did struggle is where I started to show the real me and try and be a bit more authentic the more comfortable I got. So I'd like play certain music I like, or I'd highlight an interest or hobby into like, I don't know, TV shows or anything. And I got like mockery, like complete judgment, complete mockery. I even got at some points like, you don't like that, like telling me what I like.
Oh my gosh.
And that was insane, like especially in friendships, because then you're just like, damn, like don't are you going to be annoyed or like not my friend if I disagree with that?
Do you know
statement?
what I think that is? I think it's a control thing, a lot of it. Like, you don't like that because it's like, how dare you become a person
like
on your own?
Dare
like,
you become individual,
separate from an individual that's separate from me, like.
And I just think my whole upbringing, like young years anyway, I felt like I was living in everyone else's shadow anyway. So like to have people like that just made me feel even more small, like I wasn't my own person.
Yeah.
And then when I finally did show like hints of that, I feel like I just got hit with such like they were like, you're so cringe, like type thing, that it made me feel like, who am I actually don't know.
Maybe they just didn't want you to be the person that you really were. They didn't want you to grow separate from them.
Yes, and I think I noticed that early on with friendships, and I went, actually no, I don't like you telling me what I like, fuck you. And I was quite good at walking away from that, I'd say, but then I got into a relationship, and I think I really struggled to do that, because basically this was like, and as I said with the limerence, you're so obsessed that I actually did change my personality to fit what they wanted. And if there was anything I did that they'd like even just minorly express they didn't really like, I was like, right, we're never doing that again. Do you know what I mean? And I basically built my whole persona and relationship on like what they wanted type thing. There's two sides of this. One, they is control, they want you to be a certain way, and two, you want to fit what they want. So both of you are kind of at fault.
But it does kind of take away from you, and that's kind of where, like I said, this is where this stuff is bred. Like I was saying to Maisie earlier, I just think one thing I've realised is narcissism breeds narcissism. Narcissistic traits breed narcissistic traits. That's what I meant to say more. But see, this is when you have to start realising stuff. The second that you feel the need to change yourself to fit them, which I am so guilty of, leave. Because if someone truly loves you, they should love you. Not some version that you have to create just to please that person or to feel loved. And if you're desperate for love, which all of us have been and probably still are, then you're going to do anything it takes for this person to love you back. But like I said, this is all about realising and learning. So make sure if you realise that you're having to change yourself, it might not even be themselves, but regardless, you should leave, because either you need to go and find yourself or you need to go and find someone that loves you. And that's what I'd say about that.
And it's so true. And I think the reason I struggled is because I didn't have much self-worth, and I didn't really know who I was. I didn't know that this person was trying to like change me, I guess, or make me feel bad for it, because I didn't have now I'm so authentically myself and I know exactly who Maisie is. So if I meet someone that's critiquing that or making me feel bad, I'm gonna be like, what are you doing?
Find another person. Then you don't have to, you don't understand that no one has to like you. People should. Realistically, I don't think, if no one in this world likes you, that's a problem.
Well, then you may need to look into yourself.
But at the same time, in the same breath, not everyone has to like you.
And you don't need to convince people that you're worthy of them sticking around.
And you know one thing, sometimes a narcissistic person or someone with narcissistic traits, they know that you are more than good enough.
Yes.
But their self-hate runs so deeply that if they were to let you know, they would feel even worse than they already do about themselves. So sometimes their mission is to make you feel the way you do, exactly the way that I'm not worthy, so that if a person that's worthy doesn't feel worthy, then it's not worth anything. So they will make it their mission to make you feel like you're not good enough, because they see that in you and they don't see that in themselves. So it's like, if I can't have that, you can't have that. So that's why they will stick around, even if you're like, this person hates me, but like, they're still here. Because they need you to feed that ego, and they also need to make sure that you don't go off and be the person they already know you are. And that is the danger. Again, I feel like the Holy Spirit's coming to me right now, because
I just think like that's true, because I was in a relationship for so long, and I will be so honest, 3/4 of that relationship I felt like this person hated me. So why was he still there? Why did he stay? I don't know. Why didn't he leave me alone if he didn't like me? I don't know. But I think it is the ego thing.
You're feeding it.
There is a quote I've got, and it's like, he didn't actually like me, he liked the way I made him feel. And I'm very careful with that when I date now, because I feel like I can make people feel a very good and nice way. But do they like me for me? No. And I stayed for too long with someone that I think liked how I made them feel rather than me as a person. And I kind of wish that person left me alone.
And you know what? The longer that they allow you to think that you're not good enough, the longer you will stay around them. Because they're not good enough. They know they're not good enough. So they need you to feel worse about yourself because you think this is the most I deserve.
I think a massive thing with that is the high highs and low lows. Like for me,
that's a way of creating you to be.
Like for me, the way my brain is programmed, and I've learned this across the board with work, everything, is I like dopamine, like little ounces of like success, love, attention, happy moments. I crave that, and I like the chase of finding that dopamine. Once I've got it, it's not necessarily as like fun. Do you know what I mean? But the high, and in a relationship it's so dangerous, because I used to get high highs and I felt like it was fake. Like there was a lot of like maybe not flashy things, but like things that on surface level to the public may look like good, and or like presents, or like there's a few things that I loved, or like comments that they would say because they know I'd like it, and I used to think, wow, like high I'm on a high, and then like within the next day a low would happen, and again it's that chase of, okay, can I get back up to the high? Like what can I do to make them give me that high again?
And sometimes I do feel that people like that can often do those things again for their ego, because they want to feel like the hero. Do you know what I mean? It's like look, and then they can then throw it back in your face.
Because like I'm thinking of examples where like they've caused an issue where I am so distraught, and then they've given me such a high with like their like comfort or whatever, and it literally my standards are on the complete floor. So
they will make sure that your standards are there.
Do you know what? I'm gonna put some examples in, okay? Because I am just very like scared of young people like my brother or girls or anything that could fall into this,
and anyone can,
high-low cycle. And an example of this like whole high low situation with me anyway was, I remember once my boyfriend at the time went to a city, I can't remember where. He was with like some of his sisters, some of her friends, I think, and they were all out drinking, and he didn't really drink, to be honest, so I didn't believe that he drank that night. But anyway, let's say he did. I got a spam at like 3 a.m. It was really weird. I woke up right before any of these messages sent, like videos sent. So it's like my brain knew what was coming. Anyway, so I'm on my phone chilling, all of a sudden I get this spam come through of like red snaps with like loads of text.
And can I just say, in like 2018, 19, whatever, if you get that from your boyfriend, you're gassed.
Oh my god!
Like if my boyfriend sent me something like that, and I'm seeing it, guys, so I would have cried tears.
I need to even give more context, because like that. And that was even more of a surprise to me, because the person I was seeing wasn't very good at communicating on nights out, wasn't very good at like doing that whole, like I would always send lovey-dovey like drunk spams, and I thought I was getting one back, basically.
The worst part.
And I was so
you're so gassed. Like
this is the whole point of the highs and lows. So I had a complete rush of adrenaline, of dopamine, thinking I'm getting a drunk spam finally.
I wouldn't even save it till the morning. I'd be
I was thinking that. I was so tired. The way it went from high to low instantly. I opened it, and you know what? I need to get this up on I have a notes page, but I remember it all. I have it written down, like exactly what was said. Okay, and the main takeaways from this spam was, I'm really drunk. I like big booty bitches. I prefer big booty bitches.
Real. I'm not even laughing because it's like
I feel like I've missed, like, I'm gonna have to just list everything and go, like, I feel like I've missed out, like, so, I love you, but sometimes I love the big booty bitches. Like, it was so stupid. And then it was like, you're a beg, like, you try too hard, you're a beg, like, my sisters don't like you, my sisters don't like your mum, like, everyone makes fun of me because I'm with a white girl, and you're just so cringy, you're so this. And then it was,
and this was
he made fun of my crep game, my trainers.
I forgot even about that word. I literally forgot about that word.
Yeah, this is how you know it was like 2019, 2020, like, but do you know what I mean? And it was just one thing after the other.
But like, it actually was not.
It wasn't just like a drunk spam of like maybe him admitting that he wanted to be with other women. It was like really horrible and personal, like
genuinely.
One step, and it wasn't even a break, like a I miss you in between. It was literally bam, 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 bam.
It went on.
It was, and it went on for so long to the point where I was so upset because he would not stop. But anyway, so that had happened, and I felt so distraught. I wrote it all down, and I was like, I can't believe he's just admitted all this. And like, I feel like he was pretending to be drunk, but anyway. So then fast forward, the next day I'm so angry, and I was so proud of myself for being angry, because in the past I would have just been like, oh, like, I'm sure that was like a lie, do you know what I mean? But I was like, no, I'm going in, guns firing. So I went in to his house. I was so angry, and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, and so I'm at a low, and this is where it switched to the high again. What does he do? He knows my love language is physical touch. He comes over, he literally holds me, and my standards are on the floor, okay? He holds me, and he's like, I'm so sorry, I love you, saying everything I want to hear, and he's cuddling me, he's like literally saying everything I want to hear, and instantly the dopamine switched. But like, so that was a clear example of like, where he's put me at such a low, and then instantly put me at high, being like, oh, I'll never do it again, and then he's been really sweet to me for the next few days, like really, really nice. I think he even bought me a present. That could be wrong, but like, that was kind of like a thing. Like, I remember once he didn't plan anything for Valentine's Day. I was so upset, and then the next day he brought me loads of presents. Again, it's that thing, if you've let me down and then you bring a high, it's not, it confuses me.
Trying to like erase the bad thing.
And the one thing with that drunk spam is, at the breakup, apparently at the very end, he said that was a dare. But anyway, but yeah, that again is this whole thing of high highs and low lows, and basically that is such a minor example, but like, of where I fell for that, and it was my own fault as well. And don't get me wrong, I don't like to defend too much and like give myself too much slack, because I've done that for enough years, but it was my fault in the sense of I was so desperate for this validation and love from this man that I forgave him too easy. Do you know what I mean? And I fell for the high highs.
But it's not just you, mate.
But it's not just me, it's everyone watching. Exactly. And I need to just like really make everyone aware and educate that, like, if someone makes you feel that low, no high is worth the low at all. And if you're noticing a pattern of they're letting me down, and then they're really like trying, and it's over and over again with no change, no justification, no nothing, is it worth it?
And I promise you, the damage you will do if you stay is worse than the pain of the change. Because, do you know what, you might cry about it, you know what I mean, you might be sad for a few months, you might be sad for a few days even, because more time was crazy is when you actually break free from it.
Oh my god,
genuinely feel the biggest weight of my, and I swear, like, this isn't me just saying, so at first it's like, oh my god, like, damn. A week later it's like, oh my goodness, what have I been waiting for?
Well,
like,
that is so true.
Like, so don't be scared to leave, I promise you.
No, do not be scared. Like, if anything, it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because I found myself, I look back at, because I was just angry, at first I was just angry about my breakup, and then I finally looked back at the relationship, and I was like, oh my god.
What on earth?
And I, even to this, like, recently I spoke about, in therapy, like, we were talking about, like, a sense of when I felt euphoria, and I was like, the only time I felt so good about myself and life, and the day the breakup happened, I was so distraught. The day I, like, found out something that done it for me, I was angry.
But
and then since then,
I mean,
euphoria you feel is insane.
And we're not even talking about a healing era per se.
No,
I genuinely mean a person like that. I mean, I don't want to talk spiritual or whatever, but they are a weight on your soul. When you finally break free from a person like that, you finally start to see you finally start to see yourself through your eyes and not their eyes.
Yes.
And that is that alone.
Yeah, like the love I had for myself after was
it's
insane.
the best feeling, I promise you.
And like it healed my inner child. I was looking at myself like, you are so lovely and amazing, and I can't believe you weren't this way before.
And do you know what, I don't condone anger, but sometimes for 1 week it's okay to be angry that someone made you feel like that. Then it comes to understanding, and this is a very, very, very key part of it, because you have to understand that these people are very hurt themselves. And it's actually sad that they actually behave like this, because this is all a coping mechanism for them. And they probably don't even realise it. It's fine, do you know what, feel everything you need to. Feel so angry that someone did that to you, but don't let that anger then force you to do that to other people, or even do it back to them. Allow that anger to sit, and then think, but then what made them like this? You know, like, you don't have to, just because you understand, don't mean you have to go back and be like, no, I'm back to help you. You don't have to do that. You can allow them, leave them with God, that's their business. But you do have to understand, because you'll start to see yourself, wait, they've now inflicted a lot of this on me. And when you understand that you understand that someone else has had to inflict that on them, because they weren't born like this.
So that's like, the whole reason I'm doing this. Is so you think, oh, maybe I am doing that to people. You're not a horrible, evil person.
No, you're
it's
a
just
hurt person.
Damn, I'm hurt. It's a defense. Let me go to therapy and work on that the same way I did, or you did. And none of us are healed or perfect, and I'm still on my journey, and it may be different to yours, but please do, whatever stage, if you're a victim, if you're the person that's maybe inflicting it on others, wherever you're at, just be aware of it and accept that you're doing it, or accept that you're experiencing it, and then do something about it.
Because if you're the victim, you don't want to then become the perpetrator.
Exactly.